Ronda is calling out the locker room, Nia is injured, and Carmella is rapping. All this and more on Total Divas with us.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey! Yes! I am so happy to be here once again with some of my favorite people. Of course, we're talking about Total Divas, and I am your host, Leslie Colon. But yet, I am not alone. I have some divas with me as well.
How you doing?
Starting with the one and only Ollie Dreamer.
Hey guys! What's up? I'm so excited to be back with my divas and talking about this amazing show because I love my divas.
Yeah.
And another diva herself, Jennifer Lopez.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
J-Lo.
Hey guys,
excited?
I'm so excited to be
Yes.
here, and I'm so excited for this episode. It was so good.
Well, before we get into it, guys, make sure you stay tuned. We have a lot of shady moments, a lot of shady tweets, and some good news for you guys. So make sure you stay tuned. And what were you guys' overall thoughts on this episode?
What did you think?
Well, okay. I'm just gonna say I already told you guys I was super excited for my girl Liv to be back.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was happy because obviously I didn't get to talk about Sonia last week because
Yeah.
she wasn't in the episode. I was like, where's my
Right.
Sonia? But I'm so happy to be able to talk about Sonia because I stan her so hard. I think she's an incredible person to look up to, especially being like such an openly gay wrestler in WWE in this day of age. It means a lot to me, and also she was here at AfterBuzz TV,
Right.
so I
Exactly.
definitely look up to her, and she's my age too. So I just I love what she's doing, and I love what she stands for, and I just support her so much. And I think Daria, you're just an awesome person, and I think we need more wrestlers like her and more public figures like her because she's just inspirational.
Yeah, I think we said before, like in the first couple episodes, we saw her really be an advocate and really be herself. And I think a lot of people can really connect with her. And for people who haven't been able to have that, it's really important, I think, for her to have that platform now that she has to use that to advocate for the community. So I think she's amazing and we really love what she's doing.
Yes.
But Jen, what were your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I think the same thing. I'm super excited to see her here on the show in general, and she's so down to earth and
Yeah,
so funny. Like,
I know.
we're seeing such a different character from her. We're
Correct.
seeing a different side of her. We're so used to seeing her in the ring all the time, but now we're seeing who she really is,
Yeah.
what she's all about, how amazing and caring she is, not only for her girlfriend, but her friends and her family. So I'm really excited to
Right.
see that. But yeah, it was such a crazy episode. We had Carmella, my favorite. My favorite diva right now. I just love her. I don't know, but I love her.
Yeah.
I love Carmella. I'm so
Oh my
excited for them.
Random dance moment.
I'm on this side.
FABULOUS.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
I can't with you guys. There's a lot of people. It's not that I don't like her. I feel like she's just too much for me sometimes. She's just a little too emotional for me.
I
So.
love her.
She's cool and everything, she's
each
not
their
a
own.
horrible person, but I prefer, of course, Trinity is, one of my favorites. She's
Trinity,
my
yes,
girl.
of course.
yes.
So I stand with more on that side. The Bellas are my girls, so
I
those
think
are more my
Carmella
type
just
of
brings
girls.
that little, kind of like a...
The feistiness. a
The
little bit.
feistiness,
Yeah.
and not only that, but just like a fun moment, because even though she may be going through a lot of things, there's always that little blonde moment that she has, and you just can't help it to laugh at it and just brush it off. And I think she
Right.
just brings really good vibes.
Well,
to the show.
someone who hasn't been laughing in the past couple episodes and who's actually been in this war zone at work has been Nia Jax. And we see a little bit about her, and she kind of has Natty for help in this episode, and we've kind of seen the fact that she hasn't really been herself. We've noticed that, Jen, you said that it disappointed you because you really looked up to her and what she stands for. And now it's you can't relate to her because she's just been so mean. So what were your thoughts in seeing kind of her wanting to get out of her comfort zone and going on the top rope and kind of really demonstrating the reality of why she's been acting like that?
Well, I really like that finally we got to see a little glimpse of why she's been acting the way she has, like you mentioned, I just wasn't a big fan of her the last couple episodes, because I've always looked up to her because she's so different. She's not like the other divas.
Right.
And she represented women that looked like me, and and she was when she came in so strong, so
Yeah.
confident. And these past episodes, that's not what I was seeing. Even though she was bullying people, you can you can see you're not being confident because you're just bringing people down for no reason. And seeing her a little bit more different and just more humbled down and being like, hey, I need help and this is what's going on in my life. I'm just not having a good time. And, you know, she's never done the jump rope thing before. You know, that made her nervous. That was another thing she was thinking about. And right now they're in those stages of getting ready for WrestleMania, leading days into WrestleMania. So right now she's trying to figure out, like, just like Carmella, what are we going to do to spice this up? You know, we could have come up with new things. So obviously her thing is like, well, I need to bring something else for whatever. Even if she's not going to fight or not, you know, she needs to be ready for anything. So seeing her that, I really enjoyed that she, you know, just kind of broke that down and she was just being a little bit more humble and just kind of like, you know, we didn't see her feistiness this time around, which I was kind of okay with. I'm all right. I mean, I like the feistiness and I like the drama, you know, but to a certain extent, not like week after week after week to the point that you just dislike this person. So, yeah.
Ollie, there was a lot of things that came up in this episode in regards to Nia, especially like her injury. Do you think that played a part into her attitude? Or one of the things, I know you watch wrestling, it was the whole Becky situation.
Yes. Oh my
gosh. I watch wrestling as well. Personally, my thought was that she was using that as something to boost her up. Do you really think that kind of got in her head and put her down? Or what are your thoughts on why she was acting like that?
Yeah, I was thinking that the whole entire time. Ever since this whole season started, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see that kind of fleshed out a little bit on Total Divas. It's interesting because I see it both ways. I see it as something that hurt her actually, like, as a human being, because I think by punching the crap out of Becky's face and breaking her face, essentially, I think she got so much backlash over that. Yeah. But also, I feel like suffering that backlash, I think she was smart to kind of turn it into, like, her character and kind of boost her heel character. And, like, yes, like, she would literally, like, make gestures about, you know, her fist and whatnot and how strong it is. And I think that was a smart thing for her to do for not only her character, but also for her to kind of empower herself, because it's like what Natty said, she didn't mean to do that. It was an accident, and accidents happen. So I think she's just going through a lot of different emotions at this time in her career. These, however months this was ago, it was like 7.
It was WrestleMania. Yeah. So WrestleMania is around like April.
And on top of that, kind of her finding herself in a tag team with Tamina. I think there's so many different tag teams going on at that time too. So it's also like, okay, but you have to like be yourself and find yourself, but also you're in a tag team. So I think, and it was relatively dealing with so many different emotions and kind of on this roller coaster of Nia Jax. So it's just lots to think about.
I know you guys in the chat do watch wrestling. For those who don't, really let us know your opinion on whether you think she is like this because of her injury or because of what happened with Becky. You know, we do read your comments, so please let us know. Personally, I do want to see a little bit more sincerity from Nia. I'm not getting that yet. I don't really feel bad for her yet. Maybe in the next couple of episodes as we see her injury. Yes, of course, I'm a wrestling fan. I stand for women's wrestling. I don't want to get them see injured, and I love what Nia stands for. But because she switched on us like really big, it's just been too much for me. And I think I need a little bit more honesty and really see that and I think the biggest thing as a fan for me was like she kind of cost Becky her match against Ronda.
Yeah, Survivor Series.
Yeah, and Becky has worked so hard to get to that point, so it was kind of like, how do you really forgive that? Because Becky never really got her one-on-one. And Ronda's not wrestling right now either.
Yeah, I mean, she shared it with Charlotte too. Right. So, like, I know that's jumping ahead, but yeah.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, she never got her one-on-one.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of things that, you know, as a fan, you still like,
damn it, Nia.
I can't forgive you. Right. So,
what could have been?
But we also see her struggling with her knees and everything like that. And she's been wrestling with the torn ACL. It's completely gone. Were you guys shocked to see that and the fact that she's been able to wrestle and hold it out for so long?
I was really surprised when the doctor told her, like, what is going on? You know, like, it just was gone.
Right.
So I didn't understand. I was just like, how have you even been doing? I'm surprised that she didn't get hurt wrestling with a knee like that. you know, because it just, I don't know, it's just a lot of pain. She was in a lot of pain even when she was practicing in the performance center. She was in such pain. She couldn't even get up. And when she finally did, it was like, I feel like she was just making it worse. So
it shocks me because I didn't know that she completely lost her ACL. But also knowing the fact that, I mean, WrestleMania hasn't even started, so she's going to be wrestling without the ACL, like literally.
Right.
So I was like, damn, it made me respect her a little bit more for having to do it. I know she did. It was like, there was multiple people in that match, but I was still, it made me just kind of like, okay, gave her more credit than what I would perceived it.
I don't think we'll ever discredit women's wrestling or anything like that. But someone who they feel like is discrediting women's wrestling is Ronda Rousey. So we see on her show, you know, she does have her own separate show because Ronda Rousey has made a name for herself before she came to WWE. She's done a lot of great stuff in UFC and everything like that, but she was calling out WWE and saying it was fake and pretty much that everything is acting and that she was going to do whatever she wanted. Ollie, as a fan, how do you take that?
Well, as a fan who understands that it's scripted and quote-unquote fake, there are fans who don't think that they think that WWE is real, you know?
Right.
And some people that will, like, take that, like,
Personally.
literally. You're right, right. Or people who know similar to me, but still will, like, Ronda, like, even honestly, like, Ronda, when she said certain things, I wasn't sure if she was actually being real or not, or if that was part of her character, because I know in this episode you talked about how much she did like the antagonist, the heel type character, because there's so much more interesting, but I didn't know because I'm like, well, it's Ronda Rousey, she can kind of get away with anything. So is she actually mad at Becky? Is Becky, you know, just pushing her buttons? Like, I really didn't know, and it come to find out on Total Divas, she's like just like this very down to earth character in real life. So it makes me kind of see that different side of it, but also it makes me kind of like, oh God, wrestling fans are so like they take everything too seriously.
But see,
you know?
like as a fan, I understand because it's like I still get a little bothered when people are like, why do you watch that? It's fake. Or stuff like that. Like, you don't want to hear that, you know? We're passionate about this. This is what we watch. It's like, yes. And I think, for example, like for the women, especially for Natty, who has been in this industry for so long, you kind of start to, like, really, like, yes, we understand the concept, obviously. But you don't really want to hear someone calling it out like that, especially with such a big platform, when a lot of people are already talking about, like, oh, Ronda Rousey's in there, like, why, you know? So I don't know, Jen, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I really don't think she owes anybody anything. I think she's just playing a role. I mean, but I get it. Hearing both of you guys being fans of the wrestling and all that, I would understand. I feel that if I was a big wrestling fan and somebody said that, maybe it would upset me. But you guys knowing that it's not, you guys said that it's not real or whatever, I don't know if I would be surprised with her saying that. I would know that she's playing a role, but
I think we need to be really careful when we say, like, what's real. Like, the storylines aren't real.
Right.
That's what she's talking about.
Okay,
like, that's what she meant by acting. But wrestling is still wrestling. If the wrestling was fake, they wouldn't be getting injured.
Right.
That's true.
They wouldn't be working as hard. Like, we see a lot of, like, the behind the scenes, how they train. Like, it is not easy to get into WWE. If it was that easy and that, like, scripted and fake, anyone could do it.
Yeah.
But it's not, you know? So I think that's what she meant by, like, it's acting in regards to, like, the whole character thing, because I feel like Ronda Rousey, that's what she was trying to get at. The character part, not the whole, like, wrestling aspect.
Yeah, and I honestly do think that she struggles with the character, for sure. I know she wants to, even as an actor, like, we've seen her acting, I honestly don't think she's the best actress, whatever you want to call it, whatever you prefer, whatever your preference. And even as a voice actor, sometimes I hate saying that, but that honestly, keeping it real, I think she struggles with emoting. You know, I think she can be the most emotion I've ever seen of her was as an MMA, and I don't want to discredit that. Like, I think she's, you know, be a part of WWE, please. Like, you're bringing so much people. She has done a lot. Like, she's gotten a lot of eyes onto women's wrestling, and even some of the female superstars have said that in the last episode.
Right.
So, like, but I think she has a lot to work on, and kind of like MMA is a different world. You're coming into WWE where there's so much more fans and so much more depth to it in terms of like creating that story for fans to connect with.
Exactly.
And I think, like she said, she needs to figure out where her place is, because right now she feels like the outsider. Because, like she said, everybody has a character name. They all have two personalities. They have one in the ring and one outside of the ring. And she only has one. It's just Ronda. And it's just like, I think she's just struggling in between, like, which one is, like the character and which one is just me, and, like you said, we've seen her. And she's so down to earth, I'm in love with her character, her
as a person.
She's so family oriented, and she's, such a nice down to earth girl. And then I'm just, it's just her trying to figure out where she stands with everybody else as well too.
And I think that's why it's really important to have this reality show, to kind of really see them as a person and see like their journey, because we don't, when you watch the wrestling show like Raw and SmackDown, you don't see that.
Right.
You see the matches and you see the storylines, and that's all you see. But you don't really see their personality and really what they're going through. So I think that's what was really important, maybe for WWE, for Ronda to be a part of this cast, so we could really understand her transition from MMA to WWE, because obviously it's not hard.
Yeah.
And I think for the other women in the locker room and on the cast, they're like, oh yeah, like, she shouldn't have said that. Watching the video, I was like, oh yeah,
it was a little intense.
It was
a little intense.
But then, like Trinity said, she's like, I mind my own business. She's still doing what she's doing.
Right.
That's her storyline. That's her business.
And I don't think I think it's also, it's not the first time we've seen wrestlers do things like that. They've gone above, like they've pushed the boundaries to kind of make themselves known. It just, sometimes. It sucks. It just sucks.
I just think it's different because you're calling out the industry. You're calling out your job and what you do, and because
because it's not even just WWE. It's like as a whole,
everybody,
professional wrestling.
Exactly. So that's why I think everyone was a little sensitive. Even Natty, and again, Natty is like, I respect Ronda, and I'm in this business. And for me, I have a lot of respect for Natty. If anything, everyone should respect Natty, and I think they all do, because she's pretty much the one that has taught them everything. That's the one
she lives and breathes.
Exactly.
Natty's the guru, the guru of everyone.
So for her to even be a little caught off guard, I feel like it was important for her to have a conversation with her, and I think it'll be interesting to see that little get together that they're gonna have with Ronda. I'm
excited for that.
I know.
I actually thought it was gonna be on this episode.
Me
I was
too.
actually very excited. I was like, oh my god, I wonder how this is gonna go. Because I really think seeing Ronda at home with her husband and her family, I love it. I enjoy it every time they go to her. It's just seeing her farm life. It's insane,
Next time on Total Divas.
I know. I was disappointed. I really wanted to see that, because it's like, even Liv was caught off guard, like, everyone's invited? Are you sure?
Oh, and they were backstage together.
Yeah.
I will say, okay, and it's off topic, but when Ronda did see Lacey, and how Lacey's a mom and she travels with her kid, and Ronda's like, oh my gosh, if I could just be like that. It's just like, have the kid look like that, So it just makes me kind of like, I can sympathize with Ronda for wanting that family, but I think that she could still have both. And anyone who wants a family as a wrestler and doesn't have one yet, like, it's possible. It's absolutely possible.
And I think, again, she's advocating for that, because she's, like, given up so much, I feel like, already to do this whole profession and done so much that she's, like, I feel like she's kind of tired of that lifestyle, that I predict that in this whole season, we're kind of going to see her transition from, like, really making that decision of, you know what, it's my time to make my family. And I respect her for that. And I feel like, again, she's going to come back. Like we've said before, you can never leave wrestling.
Right.
So we'll see what happens with her. But there's both sides. There's people who are like, whatever, shouldn't have said that, and there's people who are like, it wasn't a big deal, she's just playing her character. So definitely let us know what you guys think. But I think we're all kind of in the middle here, and we can agree to disagree.
Definitely. I just see both sides of the spectrum. I respect everyone's opinion. Don't come for me on Twitter.
Please don't come for me. I was like,
but yeah, I just want to shout out the chat real quick. Gabby McCoy, Joseph, they're talking about it. And of course, one of my friends, Anissa Barr of AfterBuzz. Like, we miss you, girl. Hey, she's in the chat too.
She is.
Yes, and anyone else I missed. I'm sorry, but thank you guys for tuning in live.
Yeah.
If not, just give us a comment in the comments below and let us know what you think of the whole episode.
Exactly. So another person who we mentioned that we love is Sonia, and she's pretty much caught off guard. I would be stressed out too if my soon-to-be, I guess you can say mother-in-law, wants me to move in and talking about kids, and she's not even that old, we can say.
She's so young
to be talking about that, and like she's just starting her career really with WWE. There's a lot going on.
Right.
What were your thoughts when all this was happening and her mother-in-law pushing her to move to Tampa?
I was just like, I wanted to tell that lady, mind your business. Oh my gosh. She was literally pushing that house down to her. She's like, yeah, we're going to get a house and then you're going to move down here. Like just telling her what she needed to do. And I really didn't like that. And I didn't like when they were having lunch, Liv was asking her like, what, why don't you, want to move to Fort Lauderdale? And she was like, no, I have my family here. My mom's my best friend. And, you travel a lot.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of pinpointing it at her and saying, well, it's because of you that I can't live there because of your job. You're not going to be home. And it's just kind of like, no, I don't know. I just didn't like that very much. And I actually like that Sonia's taking the relationship really slow and she's just like, hey, we need to like slow it down. I don't know.
Ollie, I want to know, what are your thoughts on Arianna?
Nope.
I completely agree with my girl Liv. I can't read her.
Me
I don't
either.
She's Ariana's she's beautiful. She's
is.
gorgeous. I love them together. I do ship them. However, I just don't understand where she's coming. I don't know who she is.
I feel like she's very blank.
Yeah.
Like she's just there. Even like, I don't even feel like she's intimate. I feel like Sonia's like, I love you. Like, let me hug you and everything.
Yeah.
And
she's very cold.
I just think that,
Yeah.
I think what it is too is that this is probably the first time cameras are in front of her.
Yeah.
So, they're coming into her house, they're coming and filming her live and, her relationship with Sonia. So I think with her is just kind of like, oh, should I say this? Should I not say this? She's just kind of, and I think it's like that with everybody. I mean, we saw that with Corey. Corey didn't say much. He was very cold at the beginning too with Carmela, and Carmela was all lovey-dovey with him. And he was just kind of like, oh yeah, okay, whatever, and I don't know. It's just, I think we're probably going to see more of her, and I'm hoping we see more of her personality. It's just probably going to take a little bit of time.
But even her mom had like more pizzazz.
Exactly.
She was like, you're going to do this.
That's true. But
You're going to do that. I was like, damn, Mom, are you dating Sonia?
I know.
Like, what's the deal? But I love what Sonia brought up about how, because it is kind of like things with lesbians, like they move really fast. Like I have so many lesbian friends, and that's literally, they move in, like they meet and they move in the next day. It's so funny. Like not literally, but they move fast because they just click, like usually. And I do really ship them. I just think that I like that Sonia is willing to sacrifice, because I believe relationships are about sacrifice.
Yes.
And she's willing to sacrifice a lot.
Right.
So.
And I see where Ariana's coming from to an extent about you're traveling all the time, Sonia. You are. Like you travel.
See, but you're talking about sacrifice, and for me personally, I think it's about compromise as well.
Right.
This is where Liv comes in, and she's like, you're sacrificing, but where is she compromising, and what
Where's
is she
the
giving?
in-between?
Exactly, there's none. And that's where I think I don't see anything from Arianna. I feel like she's very like, do it my way, because in a way I feel like she's being a little bit controlling, because Sonia's like, I already kind of lost you once, and she's kind of in that sense like, and because of her job, it was the reason. So I feel like she's kind of put her in the position where it's like, because of your job, you should do this, because that's what's going to make me happy. And I don't feel like that's right.
Or, yeah, I guess that's a really good point, because I feel like defending Arianna, I know I'm defending Arianna, but I feel like the reason why she wants to move in is like, I just ship them so hard. I'm sorry. But I feel like if they don't move in at some point, if they don't make a compromise, then if she doesn't move to, what is it, Tampa? Is that where Ariana's from?
Yes.
If they don't, then I don't see them, lasting.
No, well,
but I'm glad that they're giving time.
But I think that Sonya's already living in Fort Lauderdale, and that's, you know, and like Arianna said, she was like, the reason I don't want to move down there is because you're always traveling, right? So if she moves to Tampa, wouldn't it be the same thing?
Right.
So why get a whole new house, you know, when Sonya loves it down there? She loves Fort Lauderdale. So why get a new house in Tampa if she's going to be traveling? It's going to be the same thing.
True. That's a good point as well.
Well, I'm just glad that they're taking time to like
Figure it
it out.
And I
I'm
think
glad
that's
that
where we all stand.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's the thing is, people think moving in is so easy. Like, it really isn't. Living with someone, even with roommates, is completely different because you're with someone way more longer than, like, you can. And, you know, you're dealing with all these different personalities. So I'm glad that they made a compromise of, like, okay.
But
I
might get why Arianna would want her there, you know, as soon as she probably comes home from, you know, her trips and stuff, she probably wants someone to come home to, and she wants to be that person that Sonya comes home to. So I understand her in that sense, but
I just feel like it was a lot of stress for her, it's not fair when she deals a lot with work. Like, WWE is a really hard,
she doesn't
like,
even get to
industry.
be home to begin with.
Right. So it's like, I personally, I don't really think Arianna understands the industry and how it is. So I think that's why it's so hard for her. And that's why she's so hard on Sonya. Sonya's like, I'm just going to do it just because I want this to last. And I understand that. I do think that they eventually should move in. But I feel like they still should continue, like, dating. You can say,
I think they should give themselves a year.
Right. They've only been together for 7 months. So it's like, do they really? And they took a break, and they're still trying to figure everything out. So I think they need a little bit more time.
And Sonya's so young. At the time of filming, she was 25. Now she's 26. So even just moving in general as a 25/26-year-old, that's just a lot to, like, process. Like, you're so young, you know, chill. And I'm glad that they did kind of compromise to chill for a second.
Right. So enough of the stress. Let's have some
I
fun
know.
now.
We're just thinking about moving and like, oh my God.
I know, I'm already stressed myself.
Exactly.
Oh my
God.
gosh.
Guys, we don't have to move.
No. Let's talk about some fun stuff.
Yes.
Your girl.
Yeah. You already know.
I'm getting her single, by the way. If it comes out, I'm buying it.
Well, Carmela's rapping.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me know how you feel.
Okay. I love Carmela, but you know I gotta keep it real.
Keep it real,
I'm
Ollie.
keeping it real. What was she saying? She was rapping, I'm hot, and I was thinking, I'm not. No, Carmela. Thank goodness for auto-tune. And I'm glad that she could.
It was so much auto-tune.
She sounded so different from the beginning, and then when she went the second time around, I was like, "What happened?"
But I'm happy that we got Carmela without Corey, because I was afraid that Corey was going to be her complete. Like, every episode, we're just going to be Carmela and Corey, and her talking about Corey.
We talked about that.
And so it was so fun to see Truth, because Truth is such a character.
He's so funny.
On and off screen, he's hilarious. I love what he's doing with the 24/7 title and chasing that and whatnot. But anyway, I'm like, but she never performed, right? She never rapped.
No.
So I don't understand.
I don't know if it was for her entrance.
Yeah, I don't know what
I think it was for WrestleMania. They wanted like an intro song or
but
something.
they never did it.
I guess they probably ended up changing their mind.
They did at one point, like, R-Truth has an intro where he, like, raps. She kind of joined him, but it wasn't about her.
Yeah.
It was kind of more like a mix of them, both of them together. So it never really moved forward.
This just reminded me of, like, when Nikki was trying to, like, sing in the booth. Remember that?
It was
a couple
Brie.
seasons. Oh, was it? I thought it was Nikki.
No,
I
think it was Nikki.
It was a couple seasons ago.
Yes, I think it was Nikki. I don't think Brie would do that. But
I know. I'm, like, trying to
Nikki.
imagine. Was it Nikki?
Or I thought it was Brie when she did the whole Brie mode thing.
I don't remember. I can't.
I don't know.
Chat,
Maybe
let us
you guys
know
are right.
who was it. Was it Nikki or Brie? But let's just leave the recording sessions to Trinity.
Yeah, she's so good. I love her.
She's a natural. She can dance. She can sing. She can wrestle.
She's so good with her song too. I always knew that when her, like, amazing part came out, it sounded like her, but I didn't know it was actually, like, she did the whole song. So it was really cool for her to just see. You can tell, like, when she goes in there, like, that's just, like, her zone. Like, she's her. It's her.
And I love
she's in her element.
Yeah, she did one of the songs, "Dance All Night," right, on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Dance all. So she's talented. Trinity can do
anything.
no
I just
wrong.
love her so much.
Maybe they'll do like a duet together, Carmela and Trinity. No.
Maybe it should just be Trinity on the album.
I believe
Like
in
our
Carmella.
truth said, only Trinity. He kept pushing for her, and yeah, I felt bad for Carmella at that point, but I don't think she should have left. I feel like at that point she was way too sensitive.
Yeah.
They should have just talked it out. It wasn't that big of a deal.
I think it was, they were talking about this all day, and then at nighttime, and the evening came, and it was, everybody's probably tired. She's tired of singing and singing.
She didn't
is
even
hard.
really sing. What are you talking about?
I'm just trying to do better here. Carmella, I got your back. But yeah,
Stick to moonwalking.
Yes,
We love
she's
the
good at
moonwalk.
that.
She's amazing. She makes
Carmella,
me
I
want
support you. I will buy your single. Thank you, girl. You can send it our way. We'll intro it here in the after show.
Sure. Anyway.
Cross promotion. Yes.
Exactly.
Cross promotion.
All right, well, that's pretty much everything. I think we had
Oh,
a
was
really
it?
good, like,
Oh.
stressful but funny, but it was
It was
a
like
lot.
all in between.
Right, it was a roller coaster.
Fun.
So now let's move on to our special segment.
Yes.
And it is Shadiest Moment.
Okay. Yeah.
Alrighty. Ollie, what was your shadiest moment?
Oh man. Well, I think it happened here on the after show. Oh God. When I just think people's reaction. They didn't even need to say anything about Carmella's rapping.
Yeah,
So
true.
it was just kind of like one of those like. I feel like they needed to insert like a sound effect in there, like a shady sound effect up in there. But yeah, I feel like that reaction just kind of spoke for itself of Carmella rapping. We love you, Carmella. But yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to pick point on yours too.
Okay.
It was when Truth told Trinity, he's like, "How about you do the song?"
Yeah.
Carmella. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"I'm being serious. Like, you need to do the song."
I just thought of one. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
When Liv was trying to park.
I was just gonna.
Oh
that
my
was
God.
mine.
Finish it. Sorry. I'm so
Alright,
sorry.
No, that was mine.
I
Mine
just
was
remembered
like
it.
when they were at dinner, obviously, and then Liv was trying to park, and then her mom was like, "Can she not drive?"
She
And
sounded
then Arianna was like, "I don't know." They were so like rude. It was
So
kind of like
shady.
it seemed like they were too bougie for her. Like
When she came in, they were like looking at her. She's like, "Hey
Yeah.
guys," and they're all just looking at her.
I
like,
feel like Liv is such a character.
She is
we
such a
do
character.
have to have her on.
Yes.
"Oh
Please.
yes,
Oh my
yes."
It was definitely a shady moment.
I'm
And
so
she was
glad
just
that was
like-
your shady moment.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yes, so good.
Now to shady tweets.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Okay, so our first one is of actually this is not a shady tweet. This is actually a good tweet. It's a fun tweet.
Yes.
It's Carmella saying, "Can we just talk about what a gem at You Only Live Once is? Petition to get her as a full-time cast member."
I know I need to retweet that.
Oh my
ASAP
God.
because
Yes,
I completely
we
agree.
need her. Okay.
Yes.
So the next one is Carmella. So Art's Truth's reaction to Carmella tripping in the recording booth has me dead. Laughing out loud, hashtag Total Divas. And she put me too. So she's making fun of herself. So that's pretty good.
funny.
And of course, the second one is my favorite because it says, "Damn, Carmella, what can you do?" Hashtag Total Divas.
I love it.
And then this one is at Sonia. "Mama D really wants you and Arianna to have babies. Hashtag Total Divas." And we just see Sonia as a gift there. It's so funny. She's like, "Oh, nope." She's like, she just kept like saying, "No, I don't want to have any kids." She was like, "You're crazy."
It's
She
too
was-
soon.
It's 25.
I know.
She's like, "You're trying to put a house on her and now babies
Yeah.
as well." She's like,
It's like,
"What
why
is
did
going
her
on?"
mom have to be a realtor? That's the worst. Oh gosh. Okay, so a couple more shady tweets real quick. This is Carmella responding to a tweet from WWE. It's actually a quote from Carmella saying, "With the right confidence, hard work, preparation, and auto-tune, you can do anything." Hashtag Total Divas. And of course, Carmella responds to it on Twitter. She says, "I live for auto-tune."
That really helped her.
It did.
It did.
Sounded a lot better. And of course, last but not least, this is a tweet from Total Divas at Total Divas. And it's basically Sonia, "I'm in love," and then Liv responding. And it says, "Damn. Well, it was great knowing you." I love it because also this is me supporting her to be added on this show. I think Liv kind of is there to stir the pot in a way.
Yes, I love it.
That's the best way to describe it, but also ask those questions that people are normally uncomfortable to ask. You know, I love that she just goes in there and she's there for Sonia, and she goes to the brunch and just asks those questions, trying to back you up. And she's a good friend. I love her, and I'm glad that her and Sonia are so close.
She's really cool. I didn't really know her. I knew her as a wrestler a little bit because she doesn't really wrestle a lot.
Yeah.
Which I wish she would.
I know.
But she's a really cool character. So let's hope that she gets on the show.
I hope so too.
All right, Jen, are you ready for our news?
Yes, actually, Ollie has our news.
Doing our news this week. Sorry, Ollie. Take it away.
Well, there's not much news going on. I know we kind of struggled, but I do want to kind of shout out. This is like yesterday was the year anniversary of WWE Evolution.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up because obviously they didn't do it this year, and I know it's a huge topic of like controversy because we've waited so many years to just have women have screen time, and it's just like a missed opportunity.
Right.
It's kind of it sucks because we have the hottest stars are like Becky and Charlotte, and it just was kind of a bummer that it didn't happen this year. But it was nice to see some people, like some of the superstars and fans, just kind of tweet about it and remembering it and how awesome it was. We had Trish and Lita team up, and it was cool to see obviously Nikki take on Ronda, and so it was just cool to kind of like relive that because that was a year ago, and it's like, oh my gosh, that was a year ago. So hopefully in the future we will get maybe an Evolution 2 2020. You know, just keep tweeting WWE hashtag Evolution 2020. But yeah, it was a very special kind of seeing those old pictures from last year.
Yeah, of course. And then for our non-wrestling fans who just watched Total Divas, Evolution was the first ever women's pay-per-view. So if you've never watched it, I'm sure you can catch YouTube videos now of all the matches that happen.
It's on the network too.
WWE Network, $9.99 a month. Let's shoot that in there. But yeah, it was really cool. I agree. I was really disappointed. I've talked about this on like the WWE After Show in Español, if you guys watch. And I think a couple weeks, not this past Monday, last Monday, there wasn't even a women's match on Raw either. So I was really upset about that because we're trying to again push women's wrestling forward, and it's like go from having 2 matches to really not having a match at all.
Don't set us back. You remember all those years where we just wanted at least like an appearance from one of the divas when they were called divas back in the day. And so it sucks, but you know we can relive it through. We can relive it, and wouldn't it be so cool to see just kind of like evolution on Total Divas and how like some of the women are reacting to it? It'd be so cool. It's such a great episode. So many great episodes. I feel like
exactly. So let's hope. Us fans have a lot to so
yes, we do.
Give Divas a chance.
Exactly. Hashtag part 2. Alrighty, guys. Now let's get into our predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, Jen. Give it to me.
I'm hoping that Nia, with this injury, doesn't go even more crazy. I hope maybe this will calm her down and just not, react or take it out on the other girls, you know? So we'll see how that goes for next week's episode. I don't know.
Well, I saw in the preview the Bellas are coming back for a
little
bit. So that'll be interesting.
Right.
I love them. I miss them, but also it's cool to see some of the other women get more screen time, and obviously they have Total Bells, and they're such a brand, so it's like more power to them. And I think that we're finally going to see Sonia and Ronda talk because it'll be interesting to see them kind of interact because I feel like on like television we never really see that interaction. They're both from MMA and whatnot, and so I know Sonia's kind of like, hey, I'm from MMA too, and like the overshadowment she might feel obviously clearly hello. So I'm really looking forward to seeing like how that conversation is gonna like unfold.
Right. And I do feel like in this next episode we are gonna see that little gathering that's gonna happen. I do predict that there's gonna be a fight. There has to be a fight or an argument between someone. There's no way that all the girls can get together and it can be peaceful.
Just be peaceful. Yeah.
It wouldn't be Total Divas.
No, it
exactly.
wouldn't.
So I feel like something's gonna happen maybe with that conversation. So we'll just have to wait and see. We'll be here, of course. every Tuesday at 9 p.m. for those of you guys in the chat. So make sure you.
Yes, and thanks for
tune
joining
in
us in the
with
chat.
Yeah,
Thank you guys so
Those are
much.
awesome.
Is there any more shout outs that you want to give out?
Well, obviously, I just want to shout them out again. Gabby
Yes.
McCoy, she misses the Bellas, and Joseph. Where are y'all? Oh, thank you guys so much. And if you're not joining in live, that's totally fine.
In the comments. I know there's a lot of people in the comments. I always reply to you guys, so thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, they're part of the show too.
Yeah,
Yes,
Not just
exactly.
us three.
Yeah.
They are
So
too.
I'll make sure next week that I have those so we can shout them out as well.
Yes.
Alrighty, Ollie, let them know where they can find you.
Yes, guys, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Ollie Dreamer.
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram as well at Jen_Lopez_89.
All right, and you guys can find me at Leslie Cologne _ on Instagram and Twitter, and we will catch you next week. Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.